Omidhyanatirandasya Dhyanamjanashalakaya Chakshurunvitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. With your permission, we're going to, rather than giving a lecture, we have time, we're going to have a little debate. And once one acquaintance of Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to visit him in Mayapur, and when he came in, then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur just left. So he said, why did your son leave? Guest is arriving, why did your son leave? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, he took a vow that he would not come within 100 meters of a sahaja. So I sort of have a vow of not coming or looking at what are called Ṛtviks. Now, who knows what this Ṛtvik deviation is, or have heard it? So many devotees don't know. Okay, well, we're going to have our leader here is going to be representing, but basically it's this, that you don't need to take initiation from any current spiritual master. I'm very amazed that you don't know, but that actually everyone should just take initiation from Śrīla Prabhupāda. It was like that when Śrīla Prabhupāda was with us. There was, even though sometimes Prabhupada would ask a disciple, who's your guru? The devotee was really perplexed. Who's his guru? There's only one guru, and that was Śrīla Prabhupāda. So keep that in mind, that actually one does not really act as the role of the Diksha Guru, but is acting somewhat in a role of what is called a Ṛtvik, or a ritualistic Brahmin, who is actually acting on Śrīla Prabhupāda's behalf. Of course, everyone acts on behalf of the founder Acharya, but not in the sense that this so-called, I can't even say it's a philosophy, because there's nothing philosophical behind it, but it's a vad, it's an argument that just really representing in the ritualistic sense of performing the yajna, just like, for instance, our Pandit here is also doing the same, and that's it. But actually, Prabhupada is the initiator. So, we have here our Nṛsiṁha Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. He's going to be representing the Ṛtvik philosophy, and I will represent the Krishna consciousness as it is. Okay, and I'm looking this way because I don't even want to look at it. I can tell you history without mentioning names, that the person from whom this idea originated was someone who used to come to see me regularly in London, and he would bring up this argument, well, you know, why can't we take initiation from Prabhupada? So it unfortunately started there, and some people who I guess don't really read Prabhupada's books very carefully become duped by this. And unfortunately it's not the only sort of deviation that has come up or that will come up in Śrīla Prabhupāda's time. There were already digressions from His Divine Grace's teachings. So let us have our Nṛsiṁha Kṛṣṇa present his argument. And Nṛsiṁha Kṛṣṇa. You see, even his microphone doesn't really want to be used for such things.
Your disciple Nṛsiṁha Kṛṣṇa Dāsa put me under the sun like this, and he said, like sabotaging my brain.
Yeah, it's not even being used. But I don't think the microphone's on.
Yeah, it's not on. So my name is Ahmed.
You haven't even gotten the Ṛtvik initiation yet.
Not yet. So I'm here today. I'm actually soft Ṛtvik. You can call. I call myself like soft Ṛtvik because I call myself follower of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And I would like to discuss with you today some points that I have many questions, and maybe we can discuss in a way.
One at a time? One at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have main six points, and we can start the first one. And my first point is Śrīla Prabhupāda never appointed successors, only representatives. There's a famous letter in 1977, July 9th, and this letter, Prabhupada wrote to Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and it was distributed to all ISKCON centers, all devotees in ISKCON, and approved by Śrīla Prabhupāda. And part of that letter it says, the newly initiated devotees are disciples of Śrīla Prabhupāda. The 11 Ṛtviks named therein are to act as his representatives for performing initiations. So my point is, the letter clearly states the newly initiated devotees are Śrīla Prabhupāda disciples, not disciples of the Ṛtviks. Therefore, this is a permanent system of initiation on behalf of Prabhupada, not a temporary emergency. It was not temporary thing. What do you think about that?
Let me give you a little background. At a certain point in June 1977, Śrīla Prabhupāda appointed 11 devotees to act on his behalf. That acting on behalf, and then Śrīla Prabhupāda spells it out. He says they can give names, they don't have to come to Prabhupada, they can give the mantra, they can initiate, in other words, they can act on Śrīla Prabhupāda's behalf without asking Śrīla Prabhupada. The only thing that would happen is that in Śrīla Prabhupāda's disciple book, Prabhupada had a book in which all of his disciples were named, that the names would then come to Prabhupada's secretary and they would be written down. And why do they act as representatives? Because in the physical presence of the spiritual master, or at least that was Śrīla Prabhupada's preference, that one does not give initiation, so therefore they acted as Ṛtviks. But no, and you're saying this is a famous letter. It's only famous because it's the only thing that you Ṛtviks cite, and it has no real contextual usage.
But Prabhupada approved this letter. He sent this letter, all his consenters.
Yes, so that people know that these individuals are going to also chant on their beads and going to chant on their Gayatri threads, which is different than the process prior to that. Prior to that, everything came first to Śrīla Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada allowed, at that time it was the sort of, he appointed certain people again who could actually just chant on his beads because it was too much for Prabhupada to do.
But doesn't Prabhupada say they are representatives on my behalf?
Yes, as long as he's physically present. So let's give a little context. And context means that which is preceding, and of course that which also comes after. But here's a conversation that devotees can find both in Satsvarup Maharaja's Prabhupada Lilamrita. Now I'm reading briefly. This is a conversation in June 10th when devotees come to Śrīla Prabhupada because Prabhupada told them, come and ask me questions about what should happen when I leave. And you have to understand it's a very difficult thing for a disciple to go to a spiritual master and say, well, what should happen when you die? No one ever wants to have even discuss that topic. But anyway, this was Prabhupada's invitation. Okay. So here Satsvarup Maharaj is the representative, and there are GBCs, sannyasis, and other godbrothers physically present. Then our next question concerns initiations in the future. Very clear, isn't it? Particularly at that time when you're no longer with us. We want to know how first and second initiation would be concluded. So it's a clear question. Prabhupada's answer is also clear. Prabhupada says, yes, I shall recommend some of you. After this is settled up, I shall recommend some of you to act as officiating acharyas. Nṛsiṁha Kṛṣṇa Maharaj. Is that called a Ṛtvik acharya? Prabhupada. Ṛtvik, yes. Satsvarup. Then what is the relationship? So now we want clarification. What is the relationship of that person who gives the initiation and the Ṛtvik? Prabhupada. He is Guru. He's Guru. Satsvarup. But he does it on your behalf, Prabhupada. Yes, that is the formality. because in my presence, one should not become guru. So on my behalf, on my order, amara agya guru hana. Be actually guru, but by my order. It's not clear to the devotees what Śrīla Prabhupāda is saying. Satsvarup. So they may also be considered your disciples. In other words, they're thinking, okay, just exactly this. When Prabhupada leaves the world, everybody is his disciple. Prabhupada said, yes, there are disciples. Why consider? Who? Tamal Krishna. No, he's asking that these Ṛtvik acharyas, they're officiating, giving diksha. The people who they give diksha to, whose disciples are they? You want the answer? Prabhupada. They are his disciples. Tamal Krishna. They're his disciple. Prabhupada. Who is initiating? He is grand disciple. Satsvarup. Yes. Tamal Krishna, that's clear. Then we have a question concerning, and they want to go on to the next question, which is about translating Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada doesn't go on. He wants it to be clear. Prabhupada, when I order you become guru, he becomes regular guru. Prabhupada uses the word regular. That's all. He becomes, now the person who gets initiated, he becomes disciple of my disciple. That's it. Prabhupada said that's it. Isn't that clear to you?
No. Because for my understanding...
Because you have no brain, that's all. And because you're a motivated, selfish person who doesn't want to surrender.
For my understanding, it's not clear because it might be shiksha. Prabhupada doesn't say diksha clearly. Yeah, there is no recording of it.
There's no question here about shiksha. The question is about this. What is the relationship of that person who gives the initiation? First and second initiation. The question is about initiation. There's no topic of shiksha here.
But we also initiate.
There's only one type of initiation.
We also initiate in the system of Prabhupada. We do initiation ceremony and we initiate on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda. As I said in the letter,
he becomes regular guru. He becomes disciple of my disciple, regular guru. What you're talking about is something irregular. Prabhupada says regular guru.
But we might have regular shiksha guru.
Prabhupada's not talking about, the topic is not about shiksha gurus. The topic is about initiating. First and second, it's very clear. You're trying to tell me Prabhupada doesn't understand what his disciples are saying?
No, I'm not saying that.
You are saying that.
No, I'm not saying.
There's no topic of shiksha here. The only topic is diksha. The question is about diksha. Does Prabhupada understand that it's about diksha?
I think...
Does Prabhupada understand that it's about diksha?
There is no problem with Prabhupada.
There's problem with you. There's no problem with Prabhupada. Does Prabhupada understand that it's diksha? The question is, what do we do about first and second initiation when you are no longer with us? That's the question.
But there is no authorization by Prabhupada.
No. What Prabhupada is giving here, the authorization. He says he becomes the disciple of my disciple. He is a regular guru. What does regular guru mean?
I mean, it can be.
What does regular guru mean in the context of this conversation? very clear. Something that Śrīla Prabhupāda wanted to make clear. Therefore, he returned to the topic.
Yeah, it can be this way or that way. It's not very clear to me. Because
just because it's not clear to you doesn't mean that it's that way. It's this way. Prabhupada is answering a question.
I have many friends.
Why do you doubt Prabhupada's ability to understand and answer a question?
I have many friends, they are thinking like me. Are we all stupid or are we all unintelligent?
The whole world is full of stupid people. Just because your friends are also stupid doesn't mean that this is truth. Can you give me one example in Shastra where this ṛtvik system exists? On any sampradaya, personal or impersonal, Buddhists, Mayavadis, Vaiṣṇavas, does anybody accept a non-present guru?
I mean, didn't Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made some statements about with his when he's not present, they can continue with the practice by hearing from his
all
lectures.
of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples, which includes Śrīla Prabhupāda, accepted disciples on their own. Everybody is a representative of their guru and the disciplic succession. But you're mistaking and you're misusing the word representation.
But in my view, you are limiting the presence.
What is Prabhupada's view here? Someone says, what happens to first and second initiation when you're not here? But what does Prabhupada say? It's very clear, isn't it? Śrīla Prabhupāda says, the people who they give diksha to, whose disciples are they? They're his disciples.
But in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada writes...
I'm talking about right here. Are you trying to make a fool of my guru? That he doesn't understand a simple question?
No, I'm not talking about
They are his disciples.
I'm not
What does that say to you? Whose initiation? He's asking. The people who they give diksha to, whose disciples are they? Here, Radha Govinda Prabhu is giving diksha. Whose disciples are they? Prabhupada says, they are his disciples. He doesn't say they're my disciples.
Where is this conversation?
Huh?
Where is it recorded?
Of course. You can hear it. Don't you listen to Prabhupada?
I listen to Prabhupada every day.
You listen to what you want to hear. You're not listening to what Prabhupada is saying. You go to June 10th conversation and you'll hear this. It's written down. And why is it that everyone who is there has the same understanding? Were you there?
I was not there.
Was any of your friends there?
No.
But why about the 15 or 20 people who were there? Why is it that they have the same understanding and they're not all gurus currently?
But they were gurus.
No, they're not. Some are not gurus. Some are just my godbrothers who were there, and everyone has the same understanding who's there. Why do you have a different understanding? Because you're not there.
But Prabhupada said many places, many parts of the books, also Chaitanya Charitamrita.
What did he say in Chaitanya Charitamrita?
He says, spiritual master, you cannot limit his power or his presence by physical presence. If he is not there physically...
Is there anywhere in Shastra or tradition where this ṛtvik system exists? Is there?
I don't know.
You know. But you're a cheater. And that's why you like this philosophy. You know that it doesn't exist. And if you don't know, then you should study and you'll find out it doesn't exist. So what was Prabhupada's considered his main qualification?
For me,
What was Prabhupada's main qualification?
pure devotee.
No. What was Prabhupada's main qualification? He was pure devotee, but what does he say that made him a pure devotee?
Loyal to his spiritual master.
And that he does not change anything. He repeats things as they are. This is the system. The system is you take initiation from a living guru. As I said, it's the system with the Buddhists, with the Mayavadis, with the Sri Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, Gaudiya Sampradaya, every Sampradaya. And it's what you find everywhere in Prabhupada's books.
Yeah, Prabhupada
So
gave the message as it is.
why are you limiting the guru that he cannot empower his disciples to initiate? You're limiting Prabhupada.
No, Prabhupada is pure devotee.
Yes, Prabhupada is pure devotee. And he can empower his followers. He says, on my order, Amar Agya Guru. What's your next point?
My next point is, the principle of this, we talked about it, no recorded actually, there is no recorded instruction authorizing this.
This is a recorded, I'm reading to you from a recorded discussion. You listen to it.
Okay. And also, there is no authorization for these 11 disciples to become initiated.
Prabhupada says, in my physical presence, you do not initiate, but in my physical absence, you can accept disciples unlimitedly.
But GBC made this statement after.
This is Prabhupada. We're talking about Prabhupada.
But my point is, GBC made declaration after Prabhupada disappeared the world.
This is Prabhupada's declaration. It's just listen to Prabhupada. You can accept disciples without limit. This is Prabhupada speaking.
But it's not so clear for me.
You can accept disciples without limit. Why isn't it clear? Prabhupada says, whose disciples? Their disciple, my grand disciple. Disciple of my disciple.
Because if we look at Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada made everything very systematically. He put GBC there, and GBC was very clear, but he didn't put this system as he did for GBC organization. That's my point.
Prabhupada said it, I'm quoting Prabhupada to you, he's setting up the system. The devotees are asking him, what's the system when he passes away? And he says, this is the system. Disciple of my disciple.
Okay.
What's the problem?
Okay, I'll check about it. I'll check. But also, there is another principle I would like to tell, this eternal spiritual master principle. Prabhupada is Shakti-avesha avatar and Jagat Guru, empowered entire world, and therefore his presence transcends time and place. What do you think about that?
But you can't force Prabhupada to do something he doesn't want to do, which is to go against the Vaiṣṇava tradition, go against Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, but do we need, this presence of Guru to practice our spiritual life?
Well, if people read Prabhupada's books, then they obviously come to a conclusion that they need a Guru. Aren't you outnumbered a little? You think all of these other people are mistaken?
It doesn't mean majority.
You think Jayapataka Maharaj's 70,000 disciples are all wrong?
Why not?
Why not? Because they read Prabhupada's books, and when you read Prabhupada's books, it becomes obvious that you accept a spiritual master, a living spiritual master.
But
there's no such system. Prabhupada never said it.
But if it's like this, why the system is not working? after Prabhupada disappeared, there were some gurus and they fell down, and there were scandals in ISKCON.
Why not? We have our Sampradaya Acharya, who's recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam, and other gurus who are there. It happens. Mamamaya Duratyaya. But that doesn't mean that Prabhupada didn't set up the system just because some people fall down. You're fallen, so you fell down. So why did you fall down?
But Prabhupada made this purely...
One thing is sensual fall down, you've got a whole philosophical fall down.
No.
You're trying to force something on Śrīla Prabhupāda. Prabhupada never... How do you know that he's accepting your whole idea? Here, listen to this. That night, this is May 20th, this is going back even earlier. That night, Śrīla Prabhupāda asked Akshayananda Maharaj, are you ready? This is also recorded, you can listen to it, if you listen to Prabhupada. Are you ready to initiate disciples? I want to retire now. Akshayananda replied that with Prabhupada's order came the ability to carry it out. Therefore, he was ready. So, what does this mean to you? Are you ready to initiate disciples? Prabhupada didn't say, are you ready to become a ṛtvik? He says, are you ready to initiate disciples? Yeah?
But they are initiating.
That's not what initiation meant. Your idea of initiation for the 12 years that Śrīla Prabhupāda was with us, there was not one devotee in this Krishna consciousness movement. They didn't even know what this word ṛtvik was, and they certainly did not have that understanding. Neither did Śrīla Prabhupāda. For Prabhupada, initiation means just this: guru, disciple. He becomes regular guru. Regular. What does regular mean?
Even if it's like this, okay, but...
It's not even if it's like this, it is like that. It's always been like that. Evam parampara praptam. It has always been like that. Paripratena, pariprashnena, sevaya, upadikshanti tadgyanam. Krishna says, approach somebody. He doesn't say, take from me. And why do you want to just be ṛtvik for Prabhupada? Why not be a ṛtvik for Rupa Goswami and be Rupa Goswami's disciple?
Because Prabhupada is the nearest pure devotee for me, so I want to go to Prabhupada.
Well, you want to go to Prabhupada, someone else wants to go to Rupa Goswami. He's the founder Acharya.
Yes, but Prabhupada gave us these books and he said it will be valid for 10,000 years.
That's fine. And Rupa Goswami gave us so many books.
Yeah.
So, and Prabhupada's books, what are Prabhupada's books? This is Vyasadev's books. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Kaviraj Goswami's books. Are you going to become their disciple?
No, I want to become Prabhupada's disciple.
So then why don't you do what Prabhupada says? And then you'll become Prabhupada's disciple. Regular guru. What does regular mean? Regular. Regular means just like everybody else, just like every other guru. Prabhupada never criticized his godbrothers, although he had a lot of criticism about them, but he never criticized that they were not authorized to become spiritual masters. Regular guru. What happens? Who gives initiation? First, second, when you leave. He becomes a disciple of my disciple, my grand... What does it mean, grand disciple? He doesn't say my direct disciple, he says my grand disciple.
It sounds better, direct disciple of Prabhupada.
But that's not what he said. Why do you want to put words in Prabhupada's mouth? Don't you understand? that you're an offender, you're an aparadi, you're concocting a philosophy, and you're blaming Śrīla Prabhupāda for a philosophy, you should be ashamed of yourself. Either you should commit suicide, or you should actually surrender, and you should become his disciple. Disciple of my disciple. Or he's now disciple of my disciple's disciple. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you were in Vedic times, they would pour hot ghee down your throat. Or molten lead. You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to the Vaiṣṇava Sampradaya. It has never happened. You're not answering my question. Is there any example in Shastra of this process? Krishna says, Upadikshanti tad-gyanam. He says, you approach a spiritual master. Whoever you see is spiritual master, Upadikshanti, and you take initiation from him.
What's wrong if we are all Prabhupada's disciples?
Because it's not what Prabhupada wants. That's what's wrong. Prabhupada says regular guru. Therefore it doesn't exist. Prabhupada says my qualification is that I have not changed anything. I follow strictly. So why don't you follow strictly the Parampara system, the Vaishnava tradition, what Prabhupada taught? Regular guru.
You were mentioning about...
Regular guru. Disciple of my disciple.
You were mentioning about...
Isn't it very simple? Why don't you just directly accept what Śrīla Prabhupāda is saying? In the name of being... Once I had a similar argument at Bhaktivedanta Manor, and I told the person who was arguing, in the name of being faithful to Prabhupada, you're committing great offenses. And he started crying. Nonsense. Crying. What are you crying about? You're an aparadi. And that's why I don't talk to people who offend my spiritual master. All these people should come and spit on you. There was a great lecture set, Jayapataka Maharaj once said. Someone was saying that Prabhupada didn't give us everything. He said, I spit on you. My spiritual master knows everything. And my spiritual master perfectly follows his spiritual master and the Guru Parampara. And you're accusing him of making up something that no one has ever done before. Aren't you ashamed?
I'm not ashamed.
Someone get this guy out. Throw him out. Take him down to the ocean, feed him to the sharks.
But our ṛtvik system preserves unity and purity, I can say. If you see in the society...
I don't see any unity or purity.
What's pure? In ISKCON I cannot see unity, this...
You're abusing Śrīla Prabhupāda. There's nothing unifying about that. Because you're a bunch of cheaters. You're saying that it's better to be cooperative cheaters, thieves, liars, than it is to be actually honest people who are trying to do their best to follow their founder Acharya.
But I have another point. Prabhupada changed many things in the system, Vedic tradition. Why not this?
Because he didn't. Because he doesn't say it anywhere. He doesn't say that everyone... The problem is you don't know Prabhupada, and neither do any of the jerks who follow you know Śrīla Prabhupāda. Because if you knew Prabhupada, Prabhupada made things clear. If Prabhupada wanted to change a tradition, it would be in his books. He would have repeated it 50 times. He would have made it very, very clear. But he doesn't. Nowhere does Śrīla Prabhupāda clearly say, in the future, I will be the Diksha Guru for everybody and everyone is just acting on my behalf. He doesn't say it. So who you're talking about is not Prabhupada, because that's not how Prabhupada worked. But here Prabhupada makes it very clear, and just to re-emphasize the point, even though the devotee is asking him, go on to another topic, he comes back and he says, no, is my disciple of my disciple, regular guru. That's it. That's it.
But
what does it mean here when he's asking Akshayananda, are you ready to initiate, to accept disciples? What does it mean? There was no concept of Ṛtvik. And at this time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj had not even brought up this word Ṛtvik. There's no mention of Ṛtvik. He just says, are you ready to initiate my disciple? You just imagine, Prabhupada is laying on a bed, which he considers to be his deathbed, and the temple president, Akshayananda Maharaj was Vrindavan's temple president. He is there, and Prabhupada brings this, he brings up the topic. It's not that we brought up the topic. He says, are you ready to initiate disciples? What does that mean? At a certain point in this conversation, I'm going to punch you in the face. What does it mean? Are you ready to initiate disciples? Isn't it very clear? It's in Prabhupada's mind. And he wasn't the only person who Śrīla Prabhupāda, and Prabhupada as far as 1975 already talked to his disciples. And that's also recorded, that I want you all, I want my senior disciples to accept the disciples. You can accept the disciples without limit. In my physical presence you can, but when I leave, then you accept disciples without limit. Prabhupada's saying, are you ready to initiate disciples? Tell me, what does it mean? There was no mention of Ṛtvik. What does it mean? Are you ready to accept disciples?
As I said in my talk in the beginning, I'm a soft Ṛtvik. I'm not the one as you were describing. I just want to be sure.
I'm asking you to tell me, what does it mean? Are you ready to initiate disciples? And the result of this conversation is either you accept initiation or you get out of here before we beat you up. Are you ready to initiate disciples? What does it mean?
If you clear a couple of my questions, maybe I will be ready for initiation.
What does this mean? Are you ready to initiate disciples? I think we shouldn't go more than 12:30, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you ready to initiate disciples? What does that mean?
Yeah, it means that...
Why but? Why but? There's no but. Are you ready to initiate disciples?
That's true.
So, Prabhupada was thinking about his disciples, accepting disciples, when he leaves. Are you smarter than Satsuru Maharaj?
I don't think so.
Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Jayapataka Maharaj, all those people who were there. Why do you think that they're just making all this up? That Prabhupada's not the initiator? Are they evil-minded people who are just trying to collect disciples?
Yeah, but
they were there, you weren't there.
But the people I was associating, they were saying they are evil-minded people. That's why I got spoiled, maybe.
Okay, well, you better stop associating with those people. That's the problem. You're associating with evil-minded people. People who don't want to accept the principle of accepting. They may not have a guru of the same caliber as Śrīla Prabhupāda, but they'll be doing what Śrīla Prabhupāda said. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada says that chanting the Panchatattva Mahamantra is more powerful than chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Why don't we chant Panchatattva mantra? Why? What did Prabhupada say? Why don't we chant?
Because Prabhupada established Mahamantra.
Well, because Lord Chaitanya established the Mahamantra. And Lord Chaitanya said we should chant Krishna's names. So same thing. Your guru may not be in the same caliber as Śrīla Prabhupāda, but if you want to be a follower of Prabhupada, then you accept the system. And this is the system. Disciple of my disciple, regular guru. It's really plain. And yeah, you should stop associating with those horrible people because they're poisoning your mind and they're destroying your ability to actually go back home, back to Godhead, because you're uninitiated. And worse than being uninitiated, because there may be other people who are uninitiated and dying. You're committing offense to Śrīla Prabhupāda in the process, so you're an aparati. You really need to atone for those type of offenses. And the way to atone is just that, is that you take initiation from Prabhupada's representative, and then you preach against those people who are Ṛtviks. And you stand up in public, in video, and say, I was a Ṛtvik, but now I've seen the light.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Can I be your disciple?
No, you be his disciple.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai.